Welcome back to part 2 of this episode with our guest, Melanie Bell.
Absolutely.
But
and that's kind of like with our doors, there's not a lot of maintenance that's needed.
Yeah.
Spray down the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't need to grease it.
Right.
So as long as your measurements are right, when we manufacture the door for you, we'll build to spec.
Yeah.
And that you're putting the tracks where you say you're going to put the tracks, then, it's golden.
Yeah.
We have doors on the road that are 13 years plus.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive. Now you guys manufacture everything in Canada, is that right?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, just outside of Toronto.
Okay.
It's called Aurora.
Okay.
Aurora, Ontario, Canada.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we're about half an hour north of the city of Toronto.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where did you grow up in that area? Is that where you were originally
from? I did.
From?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So I lived in Michigan for a little while too. So my father was involved in the auto industry. So we lived just outside of Detroit for years. So it's kind of interesting how I made my way into transportation.
Yeah.
So thanks, Dad.
Yeah. You were always around it's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
And at that time, I don't know when that was, but yes, Detroit was, probably the Mecca. Certainly
the Motor City.
In North America. That's just where everything was. And then you started to see the outreach into Canada and then, other subsidiaries around Detroit. But, and it's still that way for a lot of the larger manufacturers. Detroit, obviously, where all those third-party companies were, those are all gone. I mean, I haven't been up there in a number of years, but I just remember going through there going, wow, this is not anywhere what it used to be. Cause that place used to just be it. I mean, it was anything you wanted, it was there, but, it's amazing how the world's kind of changed and evolved over the years and how manufacturing is it's now global. Or it has been. I don't want. It's not earth-shattering news that I'm bringing to the forefront. It's been global for a long. Right? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're right. Yeah. Thanks for
reporting live.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's amazing where everything comes from, and then I'm not a political person, but politically, it looks like everything's trying to get reined back into the United States, and. It's like, okay, well, how long is, because of time limits and things like that, is it something we're just going to talk about for 4 years, or is it something we're really going to do? Because I just feel like a lot of what we do here in the United States is based on 4-year plans. It's like, okay, we get a new president, we're going to do it this way for, 4 years and maybe 8 if you get lucky. Then a new president comes in, it's like, oh, scrap all that. We're going to do it this way. It's like, the EV technology was huge whenever President Biden was in office. I mean, they were making, huge strides towards making sure that all manufacturers were, whatever percentage it was at the time, General Motors stepped up and said we were going to be completely all EV, I think, by 2035. Well, then you get a new president in office. It's like, oh, no, we decided not to do that now. It's like, what are we doing? It's like, we're just constantly flip-flopping on issues based on political beliefs. So I guess that's the way it always will be. But, our thing is you just have to stay flexible and be able to pivot very quickly to the changing environment. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the majority of our customer base, like we have a lot of customers in the US.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it's, predominantly US, Canada, and Mexico. So kind of have that whole North America, if you will.
Yeah. I would assume most of your customers are probably body manufacturers. Is that a good assumption?
You know what? It's a variety of, body manufacturers, fleets, like repair facilities, right? A lot of upfitters.
Okay.
Yeah. So
anyone
that wants our doors, we will provide.
Right. Yeah.
Unquote.
You're right. That's a good sales method, is to be able to just provide your product to anybody that wants it. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
And I think lead time is a huge asset for us, in terms of parts availability and building doors to spec. You're not waiting, weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
So I think we're at like a 7 to 10 business days for complete door assemblies. So
Really?
it's pretty good lead time. Yeah. Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah, I would have guessed on doors that's probably 3 to 4 weeks. That'd be my guess.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it depends on where we are in production,
mm-hmm.
but I mean, and 1 to 2 days for parts, because when a truck's down, that's money lost, right?
Yeah.
So we got to get those parts to, our upfitters quickly.
Yeah. Now, do you guys
repair facilities?
Do you guys manufacture all 52 weeks, or all year round, should I say?
Well, over the holiday period, at Christmas, we take off, usually 2 weeks, and we do inventory and, have a shutdown, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Or, your regular holidays.
Yeah. 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 I know some manufacturers only will manufacture, let's say Knapheide, for example. They only manufacture certain segments of their portfolio at certain times of the year. They won't manufacture it year round, which I found to be, in my opinion, unique. It may not be as unique as I think, but
it's very unique. Yeah.
Yeah. So certain parts of their portfolio, they only manufacture. And when I say that, it's not like they only manufacture it for like 2 months. It's, several months, but it may not be year round. So it puts a little scarcity into the industry because of it. But anyway, someone from Knapheide should probably chime in and be able to, speak a little more intelligently about that than I could. So anyway, yeah. I do believe that the future of electric vehicles is still prevalent. I don't think obviously it's waned a little bit.
It's going to take time.
It will, because like you said, to your points, the infrastructure, but for example, if you have a vehicle that is domiciled to, let's say, a 50-mile range, electric may make perfect sense for them. But if you've got a vehicle like in Texas, as massive as Texas is, and your route may take you, 3 hours out on a, let's call it a 6 to 7 hour round trip, electric may not work. Probably won't work, to be honest, because we just don't have the infrastructure, because of the vastness between the metropolitan areas. There's really nothing but fences, cows, and tumbleweed. I mean, let's just be honest. It is what it is. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. If you've never driven out to West Texas and had one of those big tumbleweeds smash into you, you've not lived, because they get massive. Those things get huge. But it's just crazy, the world that we live in. So, well,
what do you think about AI?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
did I just open up a huge conversation?
Well, I think no, but it's very prevalent. I think AI obviously is getting better every second of every day. I think let me back up. I feel that most people can see gaps coming in the workforce, meaning if AI can replace somebody or a process, it will, and it has, and it will continue to do so. What had originally taken people or processes, AI can now do that in the matter of seconds. Whereas, before AI, it took research and things to do. For example, I think in the commercial in the dealership world, I see it replacing a lot of the admin. I I see it replacing a lot of the admin, especially with bots now. So you won't necessarily, and this isn't, this has been going on for some time as well as receptionists,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of years, everybody said, well, I want to talk to a real person. Okay. Well, I think AI has taught us that you can talk to a bot and not really know the difference. But you feel validated because that real person's available 24/7, not just during business hours and not just during business days. If you have a problem and you feel like you need to talk to somebody, you can, you pick up the phone and
Mm-hmm.
call a company that's bot oriented as far as their receptionist role, and you can sit there and have a conversation with a bot, just like you're having a conversation with Gemini or ChatGPT or
Yes.
Claude or any of these other applications. So yeah, I think that becomes a big thing as far as
So more of a
sales.
tool. So
Yeah,
AI being a tool
yeah.
and still keeping the expertise of a human
For now, I see that,
for now.
especially in sales. I
Mm.
don't think AI replaces
The
sales.
hands-on knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like in the commercial application, there still has to be that relationship built
Absolutely.
because there's so many variables.
Mm-hmm.
On the retail side, for example, if you wanted to go buy, let's say, a Ford Explorer, and you knew
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you wanted to have, I, I don't feel like the expertise of the salesperson comes into play. For example,
Mm.
when I first started in the industry, I started selling cars in 1991. And back in 1991, people generally would do all their car shopping and get their information from a salesperson
Mm-hmm.
because there was no internet, there was no book that you can go get other than magazines that
Mm-hmm.
would break things down, but it didn't tell you the whole story. Um, so a lot
Consumer
of
reports.
exactly, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was okay. The family would go gather up. They
Mm-hmm.
would go on a Saturday and start hitting the dealerships. Generally, they would have some sort of literature with them. A lot of times, they would have a newspaper with them as well, because that's
Mm-hmm.
where the ads were. And then they really wanted to dive deep into what the salesperson knew because they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to verify the notes. Okay, this person said this, the next person said almost the same thing, but he or she added this, and the next person. So the family had a pretty good understanding of what they wanted to buy. A lot of times they would circle back after lunch, and then that was when the buying process started,
Mm-hmm.
mostly. Um, but in today's world, rather than people coming to the salesperson to figure out, okay, I need you to tell me and break all this down, they're coming in and telling me what they want. I want it this color, that color interior. I need it with a moonroof. I need it with these seats. And essentially, a retail person now is an order taker as a general rule. Now, there's still the process of how do I get you through the process of getting this car purchased. But again, I think AI can probably start to replace a lot of that process. On the
Mm-hmm.
commercial side, it's AI is not going to, in my opinion, for now, it's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
able to fully immerse into the needs and the problems that a business owner is suffering through. That's where the expertise of a commercial account manager can have an honest conversation and be able to explain the FOBs of whatever product or service that they're selling in
Mm-hmm.
a way that that business owner finds that fixes a lot of their pain points. In my opinion, as of right now, from what I'm seeing,
Mm-hmm.
there's not an AI based anything that can replace that person. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if you're in the commercial sales industry, I think you're safe for a while. 20
Mm-hmm.
or 30 years from now,
Who knows?
who
Yeah.
knows what
Yeah.
that looks like? I mean,
Yeah.
it's growing to that tendency, obviously, but is it going to replace me? Is it going to replace you?
Mm.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, I hope that it doesn't because I like
Right.
what I do.
Yes. Yeah, for
But
sure.
I think maybe some of the AI applications currently help with, design optimization for products, product performance optimization, identifying usage patterns, for, implementing new products.
I think what it does, it helps us, and I hope
Gather
this doesn't.
info.
I hope what it doesn't do. I hope we don't get so reliant on AI to think for us. And I think that's a real thing. That can really happen. And for a lot of people, let's be honest, AI is probably a better option to think rather than them. I'm just throwing that out there. It's like,
don't name names.
I'm not saying anybody in particular.
Melanie Bell.
You might want to verify that with ChatGPT before you open your mouth. No, we all know people like that, and if that's you, I'm sorry. Don't take any offense to it. But, sometimes it's true.
No.
But anyway, but no, I think AI is going to be a huge driving factor. I think AI is in a lot more places than we really understand right now. And has been there for a while. The commercial industry has been very slow to adapt. The manufacturing side has done better, in my opinion, adapting to newer technologies, mainly based on productivity, right? Whereas at the dealer level, because a dealership is generally is a reactive infrastructure. Nothing happens until a customer needs something, right? Now, there are organizations that will be more proactive to go find customers that need that service or product or both. But as a general rule, most dealerships, because of the way that they were designed, are very reactive. So that leads to a very reactive mindset within a dealership. With that being said, that's why in most cases it's very difficult to sell a new technology, a new way to a dealership group, because they always lean back on, this is the way we've always done it. Okay, I get it, I understand, and it's probably brought you a lot of success. However, if you don't change and you don't look at this, look at companies like Blockbuster, for example. They were the leaders in the home video rental business. Well, they didn't adapt and they're gone.
Yes.
Because somebody brought new technology to them and they shot it down because they said, this works. Yeah, you're right. It does work today. But is it going to work in 5 or 10 years? And we can have another conversation about, why that happened. Was it that the corporate management couldn't have real conversations with fear of possibly losing a position, losing their job? Is that the reason why some dealerships will still operate the way they do? Because somebody within that group that might not be able to bring up these ideas of what could be new and refreshing and better, in fear of losing a job because they brought up something that might not be very cohesive to an ownership group. But as everything starts to get younger, we start having younger decision makers and younger leaders that are more open to the idea of technology and AI and things like this. You'll start to slowly see it at the dealer level, but they'll be one of the last ones to adopt a full AI technology because, again, they're very reactive. They react to the environment that's around them rather than being proactive. Yeah. I can see it being a bigger thing in manufacturing, like where you guys are. Well, in fact, let me ask you that question. How much AI do you guys use within your group?
So we're in the process of developing some new products. And we have used AI as a tool, for, predictive improvements and, performance modeling. So it's something that we've adopted, right? Not fully, but we're being proactive, right? So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I can see it being on the manufacturing level, even through your sales process, if you will. But you guys have a product that's so unique. I don't know that AI needs to really step in to enhance your sales process because your product is so unique. I mean, I say that though, will they get rid of their Apple stores eventually? I don't know, but they have humans running it. Will it be the humanoids? Will it be humanoids within an Apple store? That you would kind of expect.
Very Terminator.
Right. But let's be honest. I mean, China's already fully adopted that whole thought process to where they have surgeons that are doing surgeries that are basically overseeing what a humanoid is doing. I don't know how I feel about that, but again, in some cases, I assume that surgeon is good at their job, but they may not be. So a humanoid might be better. Maybe we can test it on that game. Remember the game Operation? Can a humanoid be able to pull a right?
I could never do that game.
Every time. But yeah, let's get the humanoid. Let's test them on that first before they go cutting on a human body. So yeah, crazy times. But yeah, I can see AI. Obviously, AI is going to be just such a. I mean, it's already weaved into the fabric of what we do on a daily basis. It's just going to continue to get bigger, and those who are resistant to it will get left behind. They will, for sure. It'll be left up to organizations that are proactive in their approach to not only AI but just a new technology in general.
Well, you know what? I mean, even looking back, 10, 15, 20 years ago, with the newspaper and publishing, the readership levels were starting to decline. And then it was kind of like, okay, well, now we need to introduce more of an online component. And then it was like, okay, well, we're going to develop an app. And so develop the app, and then people are going to be able to choose their content to watch. And it was like, what? No, that's not going to fly. Well,
it did. And it
did.
Does.
Yeah.
And it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can look at, I'll never forget, this was teetering on 15 years ago when Mark Cuban said that traditional television is going away. And it was that same, what? Because it's been that way since the invention of the right.
Yeah.
That what do you mean it's going away? Obviously we now pay to watch TV, whereas 30 years ago that was unheard of. It's like, cable, I don't need cable. There's still plenty of free TV. I'm not going to pay to do that. Well, guess what? I am now. And probably will.
And there's nothing on.
And there's nothing on. But then what happens is you start buying different applications. You buy Netflix and you buy Paramount, and then you buy all these things and you look up and you're like, my God, I'm spending $500 a month to watch TV. And the whole time the TV's on, you're staring at your phone. It's the craziest, dumbest thing. But that's truly what happens, right? We're looking at Facebook, or we're looking at LinkedIn, or we're looking at YouTube, we're watching the Hot Topic podcast, whatever it might be, right? Whatever you're into. But yeah.
You need to say it into the phone so that it comes up on the feed.
Yes, it comes up in my scroll. Yeah. But yeah, it's just the craziest thing because I'm sitting there looking at my desk right now. I've got a tablet. I've obviously got my MacBook that I'm using for our podcast. I have a cell phone here. I have another one somewhere. I'm not even sure where it's at. And I have a traditional HP Windows based laptop in front of me. All the technology's here, and it's like, okay, well, why? At some point, if somebody dropped in from 1950, like Back to the Future, and they look up and it's like, what are you doing with all the technology? It's like, well, I use this one for that, and I use this one for this, and and they look around, it's like, my God, you've got $5,000 sitting on your desk. Well, it's just it's just the way that today is. It's just kind of nuts. But yeah, it's I love technology. I'm kind of I like new technology. It's always interests me into finding out what's coming, and I'm not a techie, if you will, but I find it interesting as to what it can do, and how it can make my life easier. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm fully ready for, what was the robot's name in the Jetsons that was the housekeeper?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
it'll
Anyway,
come to me when I
when we're
can't
done.
sleep at 2 a.m.
When we're done, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, how would I feel about that? It's like, well, we did have an iRobot, the Roomba vacuum for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and you just grow accustomed to it. It starts whenever it does, and it puts itself back on the charging dock, and
Mm-hmm.
away it went. So
Mm-hmm.
that technically, I guess, is part of the housekeeping responsibility. So, but I don't know. It's just, if I had a humanoid that was cleaning the house and we were having a conversation like you and I have, how would I feel about that? Would I just adopt it? Would
Is
I be
it being
resistant?
completely recorded? I mean, if you have an
Oh,
Alexa
yeah,
or your smartphone, everything is recording you,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I got
It's
over that a
all
long time ago.
algorithms and, all of a sudden we're talking about, dog food. And
Right.
then I'm getting all these ads for dog food. And I'm
That's
like,
right.
okay, you know?
Yeah. It's all based on your microphone, your cookie settings,
Mm-hmm.
your location settings, because
Mm-hmm.
everything happens so quickly that, oh,
Mm-hmm.
hey, look, the Petco that's right down the street's having this sale. Well, then it's
Yeah,
just predictive selling, right?
of
It's
course it is. Yeah.
it's like Amazon. It's like, if the Amazon driver doesn't show up to our house at least daily, they're going to think there's a problem. It's like there's something wrong with that house. It just seems like they're here all the time. And I'm like,
Mm.
what are we buying? Well, what we're buying is one thing at a time. Whereas
Convenience.
convenience, what we used to buy was, we're going to go to this store on this day and we're going to buy
Mm.
everything that we need. But now you're scrolling through Amazon, you're like, oh, I could use that. Oh, I really need this. And then they make it so easy. So yeah, I think that's just that's just the way. And speaking of which,
Mm.
um, I think obviously Amazon has ways of buying vehicles online now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we've had the conversation of, does that lead to commercial vehicles? My answer to that is, at least for the foreseeable future, no.
Mm.
Because they're too customizable. They're too specific to an industry and a business within the industry. Um, you can take two. For example, let's use a plumber for an example. You can put two
Okay.
trucks side by side, and they may look completely different, even though they do the same job. It's
Mm.
all in how they interpret how they want to do the job, is
Mm-hmm.
how that truck's equipped. So, um, switching to a model to where you had to go in, let's say the end user, to go in and specifically pick product by name, model, make, the whole works. Those people are going to rely on us to do that, because it's too much. When you
Mm-hmm.
start looking at it, it's like, okay, well, what crossover toolbox do you want? I just, one that, okay, but all these different manufacturers make one. There's 8 of them, and then they all have these different part numbers for each one of the manufacturers. Which one do you want? And then you have to do so much legwork that
Mm-hmm.
it becomes too much. It's like, okay, well, I want this. I want a headache rack. Okay, well, there's 10 different manufacturers for that. Which one do you want? The end user, they're
It's too
specialists
many
in what they do.
choices.
It's too much.
Yeah.
They're like, look, I fix air conditioners. That's what I do. You
Mm.
sell trucks. That's what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pay you to do that for me, because I'm not going to sit here after working 16 hours a day. I'm not going to sit somewhere and try to figure out exactly how I want to equip my next truck. I'm going to trust you. You're going to equip it. And then the next 50 vehicles I buy are going to be identical to that one, because I don't want to have this conversation again. But
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's the way our industry is. And I think that's the way it always will be, at least for the
Mm-hmm.
foreseeable future. I'm hoping.
Yep.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, this has been fun. I've enjoyed our
Yes.
conversation.
Thank you for having me. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, for sure. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you about
Mm-hmm.
McLaren Doors, or
Yes.
maybe they wanted to talk about the newspaper industry from years ago, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case is, what's the
Yeah.
best way they can get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me by the website, so McLarenDoors.com, or email me at mbell@McLarenDoors.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Melanie Bell. You can call me.
Yeah.
So, but that's, more than happy to answer any questions anyone has. Show them samples, etc. And I know that there's a lot of subscribers to your newsletter and to, viewing your podcasts on, I believe it's YouTube and Spotify?
Spotify, correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working
YouTube,
on Apple.
Spotify, become subscribers.
Yeah.
There's a little plug for you.
Click below.
Click below to subscribe, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if anyone has any questions, concerns, want to learn more about what we manufacture, how we can provide solutions for your fleet. Like, we're not just another roll-up door company, we're built to last, right? Yeah. And we want that relationship. And as you said, there's so many options for customers nowadays that, they can just call up Melanie, this is what I want, deal with my OEM. Or, OEM, hey, this is our customer, they want X. Okay, here you go.
Perfect.
So
perfect. Yeah. I'll be sure to include your information in the thread. And I think LinkedIn is a great way to connect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because LinkedIn is so easy to use. It's like Facebook. It's just too easy to use. So.
Well, and you know what? I love LinkedIn because it's really helped me to make meaningful connections with those like-minded individuals that are within our industry. Mm-hmm. Right? That's how we met. Mm-hmm. I saw one of your posts, and I'm sure I think that some of your guests on your podcast said the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it's a powerful tool. And I find that, LinkedIn, because it's kind of more business, it almost legitimizes people, and in terms of who their mutual connections are. Mm-hmm. So, and then you can kind of talk to the correct people that you want to connect with. Mm-hmm. So it's a large industry, but it's a small industry at the same time. It's almost so. Like I know a guy.
Right.
Let me connect you. Right.
Very much so. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. It's, and I'm a pretty good connector of people. So, it's one of those things to where if I feel like somebody's like, oh, you really need to know this person, I'm going to connect those people together, because I feel like, you can never have too many connections, especially personal connections, because as a general rule, I believe most people are in this industry to help each other. And I truly believe that. It's always been that way. And that's one of the beauties about this industry is, you can make a connection on LinkedIn. You can meet each other at Work Truck Week, and you can eventually sit down and have a podcast together. And I think that's really, really cool. So anyway.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Well, until next time, my friend, I appreciate you. And like I said, I'll put all your information down below. So if somebody's looking for an alternative, absolutely. Yeah. They'll be able to reach out to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Melanie. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Take care.